And we have an amazing guest today. His name is Stuart Grace, and he is from the UK. I'm so excited to bring him here. He is an avid cyclist, and he also organizes one of a leading charity in the UK in his area. He's done it for the 8th year in a row. This year is called Shut Up Legs Charity Ride, and it couldn't be a better title for a charity ride. I'm just going to give you a little bit of background on Stuart and his charity, and then we're going to bring him out and get into his story and how he got this started. So Stuart Grace from the UK, he started up this charity ride in support of the Epilepsy Society. But so following the success of the last 7 years, the charity has raised over 32,000 euros. So that's like 64,000 Canadian, and has agreed with the organizer, Stuart Grace, so that's him, to return for, continuing to put it on. Now, the event was organized to support your daughter who had epilepsy.
Yeah,
that's right. Cool. So welcome, Stuart. I know there's so much more about you that I don't have for your bio, but I want to bring you out now and get right into how you got into cycling. So welcome, Stuart.
thank you very much.
I always love to get everybody started with your story about how you got into cycling. How'd you get into cycling?
Basically, as my wife would say, I'm a jack of all sports, master of none. So basically,
I love that.
so basically, when I was at school, it was cricket, rugby, football and everything like that. I can't play football and I'm too small. I'm only 5'5", and probably at school I only weighed less than 50 kilos, so under 8 stone. The only thing I could do was I could actually run. So I ran for the school and I ran for the county at cross country. And but basically my parents didn't have a car, so if you wanted to go anywhere you had to ride a bike. And basically I just rode the bike from an early age. I got into rowing, as in I was a cox at Lymington Rowing Club in 1971, so it's 50 years ago this year that I was actually a coxswain. And from there, when I went to New Zealand in 1977, I carried on with coxing, because I could see from where I worked there was a rowing club in St Mary's Bay in Auckland called West End Rowing Club. Went to the club, just basically asked if I could cox. They said unfortunately all the crews, the coaches, the blades, the boats and everything was already allocated, and the season was just about to start. So I just left my number. A week later, I had a call from a guy called Tom Engels, and he wanted to start up a lightweight for the national championships. I was the right weight, right size, 5'5", 80 kilos. I coxed the lightweight 4 in the morning from 5:30 until 7:30, and I went to work, which was less than a mile from where the rowing club was. And then a week later, I was asked by a guy who was probably 6'4" and probably 15 stone, had 20-inch biceps, and his name was Bruce Ray, and him and Ross McGee rode in the coxless pair. I hadn't a clue who they were because I was new to the club, and all I knew was they wanted me to cox in the pair, and the cox pair is a front loader. So the coxswain sits at the front rather than a 4 and an 8, where the coxswain sits at the back. And basically, about a week after I'd coxed them, one of the coxswains came up to me and said, "Oh, you're really lucky to be able to cox these guys." And I said, "Well, I don't know who they are." And he said, "Well, Bruce and Ross are national champions and sort of pre-selected for the Worlds at Lake Carapiro. and I won a national title and a provincial title with Bruce and Ross.
Wow.
I think I won 100 races. Well, as a Cox, I won 100 races or more, 110, I think it was. So that was in the lightweight 4, lightweight 8, heavyweight 4, heavyweight 8, and the Cox pair. And we were coached by a guy called Dudley Story. Dudley Story unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago of motor neuron disease, and that's one of the charities we're helping this year on the ride. So that was the reason behind the second charity. Dudley was a gold medalist at the Mexico Olympics in the heavyweight 4, and the following Olympics he won a silver. But he was just an incredible athlete. He was just somebody else. But as part of my training, I used to cycle. So although I had a motorbike, I used to cycle backwards and forwards to the club, mainly to keep my weight down, because like most people, I like food. And we were always weighed before races, and the crews and the coaches would stand by the scales to make sure you didn't sort of like go in and say, oh yeah, I'm 8 stone today, and then find out you were 8.5, because it is quite an important factor.